Hello guys, I'm Rick, and this is Two Brothers Outdoors in the great Northeast in the Adirondacks, New York. And as you can see, winter has not let up one single ounce. If you look behind me, you can see my chicken coop, and there's a new building next to it right there. That is my new chicken infirmary. You might want to ask why I call it an infirmary. Well, when we bought chicks 9 months ago, we bought two different breeds. We bought, we bought white ones and black ones. The black ones were black sex links. I don't remember what the white ones were. But we thought two different breeds was a good idea. And for some reason, all of a sudden, at 9, 10 months old, whatever they are, the one breed is pulling all the feathers out of the backside of the other breed, and then once they get blood, they're like vicious. They just want to tear the other chickens up. So I had to separate them. The ones that are hurt, I put them in the infirmary. They haven't got access to the outside because all the feathers are gone off their ass, and I don't want them to get frostbite. So we got them in a heated building and all set up. Maybe I'll show that to you real quick before we go on and cut some wood. All right, this is my regular chicken coop. You can see it's a nice 18 by 10 wide pen. Got plenty of room. And they got a nice chicken coop right here. It's all heated. Egg box is right here. And open this door right here to clean it out. And of course, it's got an automatic door that closes at a certain time, so it closes them in at night, keeps them warm. Then we built this chicken infirmary. This is kind of nice too. I got to cut battings for all these boards. That's what I'm doing today. These are the chickens that are hurt. But as you can see, got an egg box, got their feed trough, heated water. Hello, girls. The price of eggs right now, I can't afford to lose any chickens. And it is heated. This is a heating element here and a heat lamp here. And right now, it's probably about 55 degrees in here. It'll get warmer once I get the battings up. All right, let's go cut some battings. As you can see, flying right here, even though Tim had the flu, he can still go shopping on Amazon. He got a set of flags, one for his mill, one for mine. Two Brothers Outdoors, Rick and Tim. Isn't that cool? He's something else, guys. Okay, so let's get the heat fired up in here. Got a pile of 2x4s right there. I'm going to take some of those, the ones that got the less knots, and stack them up. Start making some battings for the to go on the chicken infirmary. But first, I'd like to talk to you guys about a question we get asked all the time, or I should say, a statement. All right, guys. Well, I'm waiting for it to heat up in here a little bit. Just saw the chicken coop. We got to have battings for the boards that come together. Still see air gaps through it. We're not done with winter yet. We're not even close to done with winter. Some of our worst weather probably comes in February. So, with that being said, I want to get that coop airtight so it will stay warm. So I'm going to take 2x4s, turn them up this way. I'm going to cut them 3/4 of an inch thick, make a bunch of battings. These have got knots in them. I took the worst 2x4s and left them over there. They got big knots in them like this. Those battings will fall apart. Some of these will too, but I can piece them together and still use them. All right, so one thing I wanted to talk to you about, we get a lot of, I'm going to say statements. We get a lot of comments on our YouTube channel. People tell us, we want to buy a sawmill, or I want to buy a sawmill. What do you suggest? Let's get to that real quick. And we're going to talk about some of the support stuff you have to go along with it. Now, I started this video a week or so ago, and I made a 21-minute video on how to choose the right mill, and I scrapped that whole video because it's not going to take me long to tell you how to pick out what mill works best for you. You know, we're advocates of the Hud-son mills. We really like the Hud-son mills. This is the HFE 30 Homesteader. Over the course of time after I bought this mill, there was things I saw that I could improve on this mill. And what I did is I inadvertently turned this into a Oscar Pro. If you go look at the Oscar Pro mills, built the same exact way. So, with that being said, I would not buy a mill that can cut less than a 30-inch log. And I'm going to tell you why I said this. You don't get a lot of 30-inch logs. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever had a 30-inch log on this mill. But the two things that this mill, or the Oscar Pro Series 30 and the 36, the 336 and the 330, I'll show you the things that make them stand out from other mills that'll also cut 28, 30-inch logs. The first thing is what they call the throat. The distance between the blade and the frame on the mill. This one, the distance is 11 inches. On the Oscar 330 Pro and the 336, it is also 11 inches. What that means in terms of cutting wood, you can actually cut an 11-inch thick beam without flipping it over a dozen times trying to work it down to 12 or 11 inches or whatever. This will cut up to 11 inches between the blade and the bottom of the frame. This also allows me to cut a bunch of lumber without moving it until I get to that 11-inch mark, and then I got to move some off the top, but it saves time and saves energy. The other thing I like about the 30-inch mills is the distance between these guides. I can literally cut a board 32 inches wide, and if I want to take this guide off over here, which you can do and still cut, I can cut over 33 inches wide. So I can cut a cant with square sides, or I can cut a slab for a table 33 inches wide. There isn't a lot of mills that can do that, especially a lot of mills that are priced like these mills. The Hud-son mills are built very well. Their track on these bigger mills is built like a tank. The mill itself is built like a tank. So if you're going to buy a mill, everybody wants to stay under $5,000, myself included. When I started looking into mills, I wanted to stay under $5,000. That's why I went with the Hud-son FHE 30, because at the time it was just a little over $5,000. I'm glad I bought the bigger mill. I did do my research. The throat and the distance between the guides is what sold me on this mill. This mill came with a 14-horse engine. That's a marginal horsepower for a mill this size. This mill was meant for homesteading, building buildings, building a cabin. I'm building this, I'm building that. For your own personal use, that mill would have worked out great. Unfortunately, we started sawing and doing it more and more and more. I've put 3 engines on this mill. That's how much I've sawn with this mill. We have sawn for 5 years, just ungodly amount of timber through this mill. Like I said, I'm on engine number 3. This is now a 24 horsepower V-twin. A mill this size, I would suggest getting a V-twin, 23 horsepower or bigger. The Oscar 336 and the 330 Pros both come with the 23 horsepower. The 336 you can upgrade to bigger horsepower if you want. Now, as far as staying under $5,000, you're not going to get a mill worth of crap under $5,000. So if you plan on doing this and making money with it, go with the Hud-son 330 or the Hud-son 336 Pro. If you're doing it for just yourself, go with the 528 Pro. Those mills are built like tanks, but I'm going to tell you why to go with the Oscar Pro Series. The Oscar Pro Series, you can upgrade, put an electric power head up and down, up and down. You can also put a power power drive for your head on the track. And you can also, believe it or not, go with a computerized set works. So as your business grows, as your needs grow, you can upgrade those mills to do those things. So that's why I say check out Hud-son, check out the Oscar Pro Series. You can get the 336 basic mill for less than 10 grand. You can get the 330 basic mill for less than 9 grand. Go check them out. They're built great, good warranty, good customer service. You won't be sorry you did. Build your business, build your mill as you go. All right, so the other thing I want to tell you about was the support things that you're going to need for your mill. This is very important so you don't go into it blindly. You ask the question, I'm going to give you the answers, okay? Number one, you got to have space. You just can't set this up in your backyard. You might have local ordinances that tell you, no, you can't. So you need to check those out. Don't set it up in your backyard thinking, oh yeah, I got plenty of space. I got 100 by 100 yard, because you're going to end up with logs. You're going to end up setting the mill up. You're going to end up ultimately putting a building over it. You're going to have waste like sawdust and offcuts and, of course, board storage. So make sure you got the space before you buy a mill. Blades. These blades on these mills, they run around $300 for a box of between between $325 and $400 for a box of 15 blades. You'll go through blades pretty quick as you're sawing. So the next thing you should look into is buying a blade sharpener. These blades can be sharpened 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 times. It'll save you a ton of money if you get a blade sharpener. So go ahead and bite the bullet. Buy a blade sharpener while you're at it. Might as well get a 2-setter while you're at it too. You have to have a source of logs. Logs just doesn't fall out of the air. If you have property with trees, great. If you don't have property with trees, you're going to have to find logs. You're going to have to source logs. Either talk to a log service, a tree service I mean, or get in tight with a logger that can bring you logs when you need them. But you got to find a source of logs. They just don't fall out of the sky. So keep that in mind. One log isn't going to last that long. One log is going to last you about 20 minutes. Also, if you're getting logs from a tree service, a lot of those logs come out of people's yards. They're going to have metal in them. That's a given. You hit metal with this blade, goodbye. So you got to keep that in mind also. If you have your own land and your own logs, got to have a good chainsaw. And you're also going to have a way to move those logs. You got to have a way to move them around the mill. You got to have a way to bring them out of the woods. Now, I built log arches. You watch our videos, you'll see the arches. We can pick a log right up off the ground. We can bring it out of the woods. We can back it onto the mill. Worst comes to worst, you could drop the log right here in front of the mill, put a couple boards down and roll it up on the mill. We built the log arches because it keeps the log off the ground. Once we cut the tree down, cut it into logs, the log arch picks it up. That log does not touch the ground, gets on the mill. Dirt on a log will kill a blade very quickly. Keep that in mind as well. And, of course, your waste. You got to have something to do with your waste. You can cut it up into firewood. You might be able to find a market like we did for the firewood part of it. But waste builds up quickly. You got to have some kind of way to get rid of your waste. And you have to be able to market your product. If you're going to go into business for yourself, you need to be able to market your product. Now, we use sources like Facebook Marketplace. Once we got out there, word of mouth got out, and we do pretty good just off the word of mouth, but we are still only a hobby mill. We don't do this full time. I'm retired. Tim still works. So this is not a full-time job. This is basically a hobby mill that we make a few bucks here and there on. But if you're going to try to make a living off of it, you have to be able to market your product. There are sawyers out there that I know that got into sawing. They got stacks of lumber. They can't get rid of it. They don't know how to get rid of it. So just keep that in mind. All these points are important. You must be able to cover each one of those points in order to make it successful. Now, we do have tractors too, and you might ask, why don't you just take the tractors and drag the logs out? Dragging the logs out of the woods or dragging the logs around the log yard with the tractor gets dirt on them. The dirt gets impregnated into the bark. Unless you got some way to debark that log, you're not going to be able to pressure wash the dirt out of it. We've tried it. Doesn't work. Something will always stay behind. You'll see the sparks on the blade. That blade's got to come off and go get resharpened. All right, guys. I hope this helps. It's almost addicting to get into sawmilling, and it's going to be a little bit of work. There's labor involved. If you don't mind the labor, have at it. You'll enjoy it. You'll love it. If you're not a labor-intensive person, don't get into sawmilling. Because like I said, logs are heavy, wood is heavy, moving all this stuff. You know what I'm talking about. All right, guys. We're going to get cutting on these battings and see how many we can get out of these 2x4s. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on here. So let's see what happens. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these 3/4 inches at a time. And with the blade curve, that'll make it just about a little over 5/8 of an inch thick. All right, guys. I ended up with 24 battings. Not quite enough. Guess I'm going to take these other 2x4s we have here, put them on there. I just have to piece them where they break into knots. Alright guys, that should do it. That should be enough battings. That's a nice pile of battings too. I have a sneaky suspicion on our next video we're going to revisit the logs down in the woods, even though we've gotten another 6 inches of snow. We're getting kind of desperate for logs, and I don't know. I think we can winch them out of there somehow. Alright guys, thanks for coming along with us. We appreciate you guys watching our videos. We appreciate all the comments. If you have any questions about buying a sawmill or what you should buy, feel free to throw it down there in the comment sections. We'll try to help you out. And we know the people at Hud-son pretty good too, so we can give them a call and give them a heads up that you're going to give them a holler. Alright guys, subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed already. And until the next one, we will catch you later.